Going on, you guys? Theo here with the big review, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video. I hope you all enjoyed your weekend. I know that I did. I was able to catch up on a lot of work and get a lot of rest. So here we are, back yet again with another daily King of Fighters upload. Before we jump into it, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe, because today we are going to be taking a look at a quick announcement on the forums from CM Yuri, and then we're going to be talking about the second installment of my Dear Netmarble series. But before we hop into all that, do want to mention to you guys that yesterday, the reason why, and I had mentioned this on Saturday in my chat and chill, there was not a video yesterday, of course, and the reason for that was because I actually filmed a podcast with Saint going over the power rankings and the tier list for PvP and Championship, so that will actually be posted in its entirety tomorrow as tomorrow's video. Right now I am working on edits on that, and get ready, guys, because it's about an hour and 42 minutes worth of information for all of you guys, so you should be able to get quite a bit out of that one. We were very thorough going over everything that has shifted in the PvP meta as it pertains to Championship over the course of the past month, of course covering all the bases when it comes to the SS characters, cards, and so on and so forth. So definitely be on the lookout for that one. It is definitely going to be worth your watch, or your listen, as it were. But let's go ahead and jump into the topics of today's video, because that will be for tomorrow. So what we want to cover here is going to be two things. Basically, the first thing here I want to talk about is it looks like Netmarble has announced that they have restricted more people. So basically with this, what it's looking like is they're saying that these people have been accused or identified as people using third-party software, and then they've gone in and they've restricted them for 30 or 7 days, which is definitely not banning, and that is a topic that I'm going to be talking about in my Dear Netmarble today. That is the only reason why I'm bringing this up now. But without lingering on this, yeah, so we managed to restrict the accounts of, what, 10 people? Great. Awesome. How about just banning them outright? Anyway, moving on, we're going to talk about that more here as a separate subject, but first on to better news. So this here is what I really want to talk about. It looks like with the 3.10 update, we are going to be getting the new 2001 story mode. Now in here, basically, they tell us that we are going to be getting it with the 3.10 update, which for those of you who are unaware, the other things that we should be getting with the 3.10 update are going to be the new Fess Kim added to the unified banner, and then whatever kind of cherry blossom event it is they have planned. We know that we are going to be getting the Billy Kane relay challenge that was previewed in the global stream that we had about a week or two ago. So this is pretty fun, knowing that we are going to have more chances at rubies. However, of course, the first thing on everybody's mind is, oh, well, what about a collab? Well, like I said, guys, wait till the end of the month, because I bet you at the end of the month, that's when we start hearing rumblings about that. So take this as an advantage. Take this as a good thing. This is something that I think a lot of people, with the fact that the SS banner has been here for the past week and a half, are going to be very thankful for in the long run, because this means that we can replenish some of our rubies before all that happens. So definitely take full advantage of this when it comes out. This should be pretty exciting. We've been waiting for this for a while. This marks the end of the 2001 story, which is the end of the Nests saga. So cool stuff, guys. Glad to see this. I'm sure we'll be getting more information on this update soon. They also mentioned that there's going to be a special web event for this, which I don't recall them ever having done in the past, so we'll have to wait and see what that entails. But yeah, guys, pretty exciting stuff. I am very, very optimistic for more story mode. I just want more rubies at this point, so that's going to be that. You can check all that out on the forum. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into the topic of today's video. So really what I wanted to do with this one, if you guys haven't seen my first edition of my Dear Netmarble series, you can definitely check that out. Link will be in the description. But basically what I'm going to be doing with this video this time around is I'm going to be going over a couple of different subjects that I think are highly necessary as far as change in order to better the longevity of King of Fighters All-Star and the community. So if you guys find this stuff to be things that you feel are beneficial, things that you feel like need to be changed in the game, my recommendation is to you, just try to like, this video, try to comment on this video, and maybe we can get the attention of Netmarble with these things, because they do listen to the community eventually. They do pay attention to these things. There's actually a nice part of our conversation with Saint tomorrow where we talk about that very subject as it pertains to them having listened to several of the key things that people complain about as it pertains to championship, as a matter of fact, which we're actually going to start with and talk about first, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. But I want to talk about a few things in championship real quick, you guys. So I'm going to go over here to championship, which is new for me. But so here in championship, we're going to talk about some things. So the first big thing that Netmarble you need to do, and I'm addressing Netmarble directly in this video with these things in hopes that they listen to at least some of this. And largely what I'm about to say is not stuff that is anything new. It is not stuff that I came up with myself. These are things that the community has been screaming about, clamoring over, talking about for a while now. And so I feel like with championship, the first thing that needs to be focused on is definitely here. And the reason I think championship is priority one right now is because championship really is where this game is going to live and die, and it needs to be fixed. So the couple of things that need to happen here is, obviously, first and foremost, I'm going to mention the fact of the server stabilization. You guys have to figure out a way to stabilize your servers, and whether it is going to require you to change netcode or whatever the case may be, the servers need to get fixed. You need to figure out a way to get this game to a point where championship is more fun to play for people who just have never been able to really enjoy it because of these things. Like, for instance, myself as a prime example, I can play championship now. I can get into a game. The problem is it's so laggy that it's not even worth me really playing it, because really it's just a act of attrition trying to even get through this thing. So that is the first thing, because it needs to be accessible by everyone, because that's going to directly lead into my next point. But my next point is mute unless we fix this. So working on server stabilization has to be priority one. Now, the next thing that needs to happen with this, and I will say this right now, and I know that some people may or may not agree with this, but basically what needs to happen next is we need rubies added back into the rewards for championship. It's something that needs to happen. There needs to be better rewards. As you see it here now, really all you're going for is championship coins, which really is not conducive of luring in people into this mode when this game already has so much to offer as far as things to do. You really need to have incentive, and without rubies there's very little incentive. And I understand that the reasoning behind more than likely them taking them away in the first place had everything to do with the fact of the servers not being stable, so therefore they felt it was unfair for part of the community to be unable to partake in those rubies, considering. However, I think that none of us are going to be offended if you put that back in. It's something that I feel like needs to happen for those that are the diehards on championship, because there are a ton of people that play championship. It's probably one of the most popular game modes despite how bad the server can be sometimes. And I really do feel like if you want to better things, there needs to be rubies involved again for your rewards. Now, another thing that probably should happen around that time or before is, and we just talked about it momentarily in the forum post, you need to start outright banning cheaters. These people need to be banned. I realize that there is incentive there as a developer to not outright just kick these people, because obviously it takes away from your accounts, it takes away from the amount of users every day, so on and so forth. However, these people are donating nothing to the game other than clogging up the different areas that they are using their softwares on to cheat, and they are taking away those slots from people who do these things on the up and up, aren't cheating, aren't using software. These things need to change. Now in championship, those types of issues bear their heads in different ways than you might see in, say, the time attack rankings and so on. But when you take a look, and you go in here, for instance, we'll go to time attack, and I haven't done mine yet today. I haven't even done most of my dailies yet. But if you take a look here, take a look at the top spots. Now, you tell me, do you really think that these people actually achieve these scores? In your right mind, Netmarble, are these people here, are these people on the up and up? I have a hard time believing it. These top 4 at least, I have a hard time believing. Now, I'm not trying to call anybody out. Well, I might call out COVID-19 there because, yeah. Anyway, really this needs to change. And this is something everybody's complained about for the longest, and it needs to happen. So to suss up championship, to get championship and just the state of these things in general in line, you need to fix the servers, you need to go ahead and bring Ruby rewards back for championship, and you have got to get rid of these cheaters. You have to ban these people. Giving them a slap on the wrist is going to solve nothing. So that is the first big point that I wanted to make in this video as far as talking to Netmarble directly about some of the issues plaguing the game, because this has to change. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to get to the point where championship is in better... It just needs to be in better standing. And I feel like if you do that, you're going to notice a far more active community in Championship than it already has, which credit to Championship in general as it is, because the fact that it has maintained relevancy and maintained the player base that it has so far is pretty impressive considering how many issues have plagued it since the inception of the game. Has it gotten better? Very much so. I couldn't even get into a game. But at the same time, there is a lot of work that still needs to be done, and I realize they've talked about ad nauseum in the past that they are working on things, but they've also said they were going to ban these cheaters too. So then today we get a update saying, oh, well, they're just, they're temporarily banned, 30 days at most. Yeah, that isn't going to fly. Fix it, get rid of them, fix this, and you will have a much healthier game. So that is the first couple points that I wanted to make in this video. Moving on to the next part of my points here that I want to make. I've already done an entire video in the past talking about how there is a memory problem in this game, and I'm not talking about memory leak issues or anything like that. I'm talking about memories themselves. And I'm not going to go big into detail on this, because if you guys want to see my full thoughts on the memory issue in this game, you can check that video out. The link should be in the description. However, there needs to be more easy access to generic unified banner memories. You guys need to figure that out. This is something that is extremely, extremely important for new players. New players are so far behind at this point that it is going to be a major slog for them to make it to the end game in any reasonable amount of time. Now, I realize that a lot of us that have played since day one, such as myself, we have had a lot of time and due diligence put into our accounts in order to get these things. However, I don't think any of us are going to be offended or upset if you decide to start introducing more generic FES memory tickets into the game, more ways to get FES memories into the game outside of this. In fact, I will do you one better. I feel like it's to the point now where once a month, that Hall of Elements shop that we've talked about in the past that is going to reset monthly and give you memories, which I will show you guys here. This guy here, you might as well just start making it a full-blown shop for any FES memory people want with this currency, and just reset it once a month so that people can rebuy the ones that they already purchased. It's gotten to the point with the unified banner that you just need to expand things and you need to open things up. There's no reason that these memories should be so difficult to purchase anymore. The new content that's being added into the game more and more is heavily slanted towards endgame quote-unquote material for people, things where you need Awakening 3, 4, 5 in order to clear it, and really that kind of Ruby gates people to where there's so much when it comes to rubies available in these different modes, like your Immortals and so on, that are available that most people can't even touch. especially people who are beginner or intermediate. I'm talking people who have been playing for just a few months. This needs to expand. You need to find new and interesting ways to introduce the ways for us to get these memories. Now, they have started to sort of move in that direction. You know, if you guys may have somehow missed it, I will show you this, but they did recently make a change here to where this guy here now is going to give you FES memories if you are lucky enough to pull a FES, obviously, because it is going to be just straight up unified banner tickets. This isn't enough, though. It's a step in the right direction, but there needs to be more options. In fact, I personally feel like, and this is just me spitballing ideas, and my personal opinion is a new player should have a special login streak bonus. Maybe make it to where if they miss a day, then it resets the login streak, but every 7 days that they log in for whatever amount of time, they can get a FES selector ticket or something along those lines for a memory. Not saying they can get like a full-blown character selector, but a memory selector or something of the like would be very, very beneficial for new players, because new players are going to have a decent amount of rubies available to them, but are they really going to want to invest all those rubies into the unified banner right now when they see that we are going to start getting these characters like we are with these SS characters, these BS characters, so on and so forth periodically, and they want to save for those things. Therefore, the memories in this banner need to be more accessible so that people can save more readily for those things, especially with other things like collabs that people worry about so often. You have to fix this. This has to be something that you figure out. If you want to extend the life of this game over the course of not just months but years, you have to get this figured out, because if you make this a more accessible game for new players, which you do get new players. I see new players post on the Discord all the time. I see new players post in my comment section all the time. The thing is they need to feel like they can I don't want to say catch up, because I don't want to completely discount what veterans have done, but they need a way to at least be able to compete in the game. Because even with Championship, for example, which we've already talked about a decent amount in this video, those players are going to need to at least, first and foremost, get the characters, and then they need at least one memory to awaken them in order to even use the characters to their fullest extent in PvP, because let's be honest, using unawakened characters in Championship is far, far from ideal. So this is something that you guys have to figure out. Again, I'm not going to go into a million different details on all my different thoughts on the memory issue, because I've talked about it already in the past, but this is something that needs to change. So that is my next point to Netmarble. You need to figure this out. Whatever you decide to do, make these more accessible. I'm not talking specifically about the limited memories, because we're going to get to that too here briefly, but you need to fix the unified banner memory issue and let these things be more accessible. Now, when it comes to the SS and the BS character memories, I talked about this in the aforementioned video, but I will reiterate a few points. I know that you guys said that you are going to be working on a way to get these into the game, and I know that there have been data mines that show that you guys are working on it, but I'm going to caution you again. Whatever you decide to do not make these memories so difficult to obtain that you might as well have not even made a change to begin with. Because if you don't make these things more easily attainable, people are going to be pissed. So you've got to figure this out. You've got to do it in such a way to where it is fair and it is balanced and it is something to where people don't feel like it is a waste of time, whatever thing it is that you do in order to receive these things, to even do it in the first place. You have to make sure that these things are going to be somewhat easily obtainable. I'm not saying give them away, but what I'm saying is you need to figure out a way to make it at least feel like it is worth people's while and to see a light at the end of the tunnel. Otherwise, if you leave it up purely to an RNG, then people are going to be very upset. So those are my points on memories, and I wanted to reiterate a few of the points that I've made in a past video. But really, I feel like this is a major, major talking point and a major issue that needs to be addressed in the King of Fighters All-Star. And I really don't think that it is unfair of me to say that if those things change, if they tackle those things when it pertains to memories, that fixes quite a few things that they don't even have to worry about going in on. For instance, I feel like if there were so many more ways to obtain these regular unified banner fests, that they wouldn't have to worry about rates, they wouldn't have to worry about people complaining about rates, so on and so forth. Because if people felt like if they just needed to obtain 1 or 2 copies of these characters on the unified banner, and then they'd have more than enough ways in order to obtain the memories over the course of a couple of months, that people would be fine with the state of the banners as they sit right now. The unified banner is not necessarily any type of issue. I think everybody really likes the unified banner. I think that what it really boils down to now is these types of banners have taken away the value here for people because they fear for their rubies and they fear for missing out on limited time characters, and therefore you kill 2 birds with 1 stone in fixing the issues I've already gone over, because then all of a sudden people feel less strained on having to pull 50, 60, 70,000 rubies on these limited banners in order to awaken these characters, much less get the stones, which you can leave the stones as it is as an incentive for people who do want to spend that much, but don't make people feel like they have to do that. If you do that, then you also get it to the point with these where people feel like, okay, I can go get 1 or 2 copies of this character so that I can use it for championship, and then if I want to use this character, whatever it is, later on in PvE content, I can get these memories at a different time from different places and be fine and save my rubies for whatever's coming next. Which brings me to my last point. One of the biggest complaints by people, and this is where I'm going to get on a high horse, one of the biggest complaints by people that I agree with is that Netmarble needs to be better at communication. And this is where I am actually going to reach over and cite another game that I play. So for those of you who are new here, you may not know that I play Fire Emblem Heroes on the side quite a bit. And one big thing that Fire Emblem Heroes does that the community loves and looks forward to each and every month is they put out a roadmap for the month with a calendar showing people exactly what to expect for the month. Now, I understand wanting to surprise people with things. However, you can be vague, but at least, even for instance, and this is a pure example, you released a event calendar for the month of March, for instance, and you put things such as just loose release windows, say end of March collab, for instance, just as an example. Nothing's been confirmed, by the way, guys. I'm not saying there was anything confirmed on this, although we still are of the opinion that that's probably going to happen. But if they released an event calendar per month, giving people at least an idea, and again, they don't have to be specific. They could even say, hey, in April, first part of April, you're getting a limited banner, or whatever the case may be. People would love that, because all people want is to know, one, first and foremost, that there is new content coming. And then people also want a heads up so they know what to do with the game as far as their currency goes, as far as how they approach things on a day-to-day. They need to know these things. And there is no harm in letting people get at least some loose idea. It would take some intern 5-10 minutes to put this together. It doesn't take a lot of time or effort. Heck, I'll do it for you. Let me know. Not a big deal. I can figure it out. But do something about this, because if you do that, one of the big issues I see people levy against Netmarble is consistently that they feel like they're not transparent. They feel like they don't communicate enough, so on and so forth. If you do that, people will immediately come off of that and they'll go, okay, cool, now I know at least what to expect. Because right now you have put the fear of God into these people to where people feel like, oh, I don't know whether I should spend or not. I don't know what to expect coming up. What if there's a collab? What if there's this? What if there's that? And you devalue whatever content you currently have running immediately by doing that, because people feel like there isn't enough value there that they can pull safely because they're afraid of missing out on something they want more. So, again, you fix the memory issue, then that alleviates this issue too, where it comes to people's fear of spending. So I feel like there's a lot of value there for Netmarble to do this, but again, it's going to be something to where I'm not asking them to just give away their surprises, give away their content, give away what's going to happen. But at the same time, I feel like this is something that could be done to make this game a lot healthier from a community standpoint, because then people will feel like Netmarble is communicating with them in some sort of valuable way to where they're just not doing it now. So those are my points that I wanted to throw in here for this second Dear Netmarble series. I don't want to overload it or add in a ton of different points, so I wanted to make about 5-6 different ones and have them all kind of play into each other, so that way this was at least a bit concise and organized. But these are just a few of the things that need to change. These are just a few of the issues that need to change. By no means is this everything. We're not going to have a 2-hour-long video discussing all the different things that need to be fixed or changed or what have you. But we'll do another one of these videos, I'm sure, down the road. But I just wanted to get these things off my chest because I feel like these things have to happen at some point. And I feel like if they do these things, that everybody will be much happier with the state of the game. But what say you guys? Are these points that you feel are valid? Are these points that you would like to see changed? Are there other things that kind of play into these points that you feel like could also be of benefit? Leave your comments in the comment section. If they see this stuff, then hey, there is a chance that they at least take it into consideration. Whether people want to believe it or not, I've said this in the past, it is clear to us at this point that Netmarble is reading what we say. They are listening to what we're saying. Whether they actually do anything about it immediately is a completely different subject, but you have to acknowledge the fact that they do at least hear what we are saying a lot of the time anymore, and they are at least taking it into account. So try to be constructive if you're going to comment about these things. Try to be respectful about it. Let's not just inundate it with, hey, screw you, Netmarble, you need to do this, you need to do that. Let's try to be respectful about it, because at the end of the day, that's the only way you're going to get them to listen. They aren't going to listen to the crap posters and the people who are just trolling and so on and so forth. If you want to see reasonable change and change that is going to breed a better environment for the game in general, then these are the ways you need to approach it. These are the things you need to do. But anyway, guys, that's my opinion. Let me know yours in the comment section. Again, we will be back tomorrow with a very fun, very informative podcast with Saint going over the championship meta, going over the tier list, going over the power rankings and what has changed both up and down as far as the rankings go. So look out for that. I think you guys will find it very informative. It'll be more of a podcast style, like I've said, so it'll be something you can kind of throw on and listen to in the background, but it should be a pretty fun listen. And if you guys have not already done so, like, share, and subscribe. We do daily King of Fighters All-Star content here on the channel, and I appreciate each and every single one of you for watching. You all take care. Peace.